Right now, Kettering police taking to Facebook to ask for your help tonight.
They say within the last 3 weeks, the number of thefts of or from vehicles has increased significantly. Now, Gwyneth Falloon is live tonight after speaking with police. Where are these thefts taking place exactly?
Adam, police say that these thefts are occurring at or near Van Buren Village, which is off of Smithville Road. Now, there have been 6 reports within the last 3 weeks. There have been 2 on Tabor Avenue, 2 on Richfield Drive, and then 1 each on both Lakewood Drive and Moeller Avenue.
So did police say, is there a way people can protect themselves from this?
Their biggest suggestion right now is investing in something like a steering wheel lock. But they also say park in well-lit areas and use security cameras when possible. Now, they're recommending these things because, unfortunately, locking your doors right now isn't enough.
If they are in the same area as you and you're activating your own key fob on your car, like just locking it or unlocking it, they have a device that will reprogram from your fob.
Now, they also say you should be vigilant and be on the lookout. Now, early yesterday morning, police actually located a black sedan that they believe is involved with these thefts, but they drove off. So they say if you see something or suspect anything, report it to police. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. Live pictures from the Capitol building tonight after House members voted to open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Now, that vote now opens a House investigation into whether the president committed any impeachable offenses while in the White House. This is happening as probes continue into the Biden family's alleged foreign business dealings. GOP leaders say this move is not political. Instead, they're just following the law.
So when a majority of the House goes on record in support of an official impeachment inquiry with the power that resides solely in the House of Representatives, this impeachment power, I think that sends a message.
Meanwhile, Democrats argue the move is nothing more than a political stunt.
This is political hackery, not serious work. We should be focused on doing the work of the American people and not be distracted by pernicious nonsense.
President Biden is releasing this statement in response to today's vote, calling out the Republicans who vote in favor of the inquiry. He says, quote, "Instead of doing anything to help make Americans' lives better, they are focused on attacking me with lies. Instead of doing their job on the urgent work that needs to be done, they're choosing to waste time on this baseless political stunt that even Republicans in Congress admit is not supported by facts." Now, we will continue to follow developments out of the nation's capital, and as we learn more, we'll alert you on air, but also at Dayton247now.com, and you can view this story by clicking on the red alert at the top of the homepage.
All right, to weather now, and it is another cold evening, but the good news is we got a lot of sun on our way.
Yeah, lots of sunshine tomorrow and warmer tomorrow too. So it's gonna be nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, win-win right there. Got 30s and 20s across the area currently. 25 in Troy. We got 34 in Sydney, 27 in Urbana right now. So out this evening, you will need a coat. It is pretty cold out there, and it's going to be a chilly night. But we got a nice afternoon on the way for tomorrow, and 3 really nice days on the way, in fact, with temperatures colder compared to this time yesterday, especially Wilmington sitting 13 degrees colder or 4 degrees colder in Springfield, a couple degrees colder up in Wapakoneta. But tomorrow, kids heading out to the bus stop, another chilly start. We'll be starting out in the mid-20s, so needing to be bundled up. Likely some frost out there, so maybe allow some extra time to clear off that windshield before you're heading out tomorrow morning. Upper 40s, however, by the afternoon. Lots of sun, great day on the way. So coming up, I'll have a look at the rest of the week because we got some 50s on the forecast and then eventually some rain. I'll let you know when.
New numbers showing counterfeit pills are accounting for more drug overdose deaths. That's according to a new CDC study that looked at data from July 2019 to December 2021. It also says overdose deaths in general are at historic highs. So Jenna Lee Bork went to find out what these numbers look like in Montgomery County. What'd you find?
Well, things might be trending in the right direction. A positive preliminary data from Dayton and Montgomery County Health shows overdose deaths have decreased by 4% compared to 2022 totals. The bad part, while speaking to Captain Terry Abels, who oversees the regional agency's Narcotics and Gun Enforcement Task Force, I found out counterfeit pills are becoming a growing problem.
For 2022, we had a total of a little over 14,000 that we seized for the entire year. In the year to date, we're currently sitting at a little over 91,000.
CDC study shows evidence that counterfeit pill use in overdose deaths doubled in the data from 2021 than what 2019 showed. Local data doesn't get that detailed, but it does show fentanyl is the leading drug found in overdose victims' systems. Fentanyl was found in 76% of victims.
So how does that tie in with the counterfeit pills then?
Yeah, so it's a little complicated. Follow me here. According to Abel's, fentanyl is found in counterfeit pills more often than other illegal drugs. So if they're seeing more fake pills in general, that means there is more likely fentanyl out there as well, more of it. Back to you.
Jenna Lee, thank you. And for the first time, we're getting a look at video of a police pursuit in Kettering.
Get out of the car now! Get out of the car and on the ground! Do not race for anything! Move! Get on the ground!
According to police, flock cameras in the city flagged Angela Hendricks, who had multiple warrants out for her arrest. Police attempted to stop Hendricks multiple times, but she continued to drive off. She was eventually stopped near the intersection of Mad River Road and Fox Run in Miami Township. Police say Hendricks could be facing multiple charges, including failure to comply, possession of drugs, and felonious assault. No one, thankfully, was hurt during that chase.
We're also learning of the funeral services for a Xenia middle schooler who was killed in a fire last week. Services for Kevin Jenkins Jr. will be held at Lighthouse Church in Xenia on Monday and Tuesday. People in attendance are asked to wear red or Xenia sports gear in his honor. Jenkins and his grandmother died in a house fire in Martinsville, believed to have started by a space heater. He was just 11 years old.
State leaders are continuing to look to tweak laws around Issue 2. This follows Ohioans overwhelmingly voting in favor of legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Lawmakers are looking to tweak the amount of weed plants you can grow from a max of 12 to 6 per household. They're also considering a 10% wholesale tax on big business. Some are even suggesting that tax revenue goes back into the state's education system.
I'm a big proponent with the tax money going back to the schools. I think that's very important. I know 86 was trying to give that to police and, prisons and things like that. I'm more saying putting money towards that coming from cannabis. It seems kind of counterintuitive. The whole bill is trying to, get people expunged out of jail. They're trying to help people, get clean records.
Now, the legislature is set to go on holiday break after this week, so more sessions about possible changes are scheduled for January.
Despite opposition from some parents, medical experts, and education professionals, the Ohio Senate is moving forward with a bill that bans gender-affirming care for minors. So here's a breakdown of that bill. House Bill 68, or the Enact Ohio Safe Act, does not allow children in the state to take puberty blockers or undergo hormone therapy. They can't receive reassignment surgery that would further align them with their gender identity either. And within the bill, transgender athletes will not be allowed to participate in women's sports. Now, the bill passed along party lines in the Republican-controlled Senate. The bill also passed in the State House, so it now goes to the governor. Now, the governor has not said if he will sign it into law.
College athletes who were denied the chance to play immediately after transferring a second time can now return to competition, at least for now. A federal judge issued a 14-day temporary restraining order against the NCAA. That rule requires athletes to sit out for a year at the new school unless they're granted a waiver. Ohio, along with 6 other states, allege the rules waiver process violates federal antitrust law.
Lawmakers also trying to crack down on reckless driving, the bill that passed the House, and what local representatives are saying about it tonight.
And a man attacked by dogs causing an officer to open fire. A witness breaks down what happened.
Plus a chilly one for tonight, but we got a warm up on the way. How much warmer we'll get, that's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Within the past week, Fairborn City Schools have dealt with an illness outbreak, a hoax bomb threat, and now the tragic loss of a beloved kindergarten teacher. Today, the family announced funeral arrangements for Jennifer Whitehead. Now, Lydia Bice caught up with the community today, shares how they're trying to cope.
I spoke with Jennifer's family today, as well as parents of her former students, and it goes without saying that she had a huge impact on the Fairborn community.
Mrs. Whitehead was an outstanding educator. Her love of kids is second to none. She always put kids first.
He was pretty upset by it, and when I picked him up yesterday, he was talking about her. And
it sounds like she made a huge impact.
I think he did. I think she did, yeah.
Today, her family announced funeral arrangements with a gathering for friends and family from 4 to 7 on Friday, December 15th at the Belton Stroop Funeral Home. The funeral will take place on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at that same funeral home. Today, I spoke with Jennifer's brother, Jason, who says she lived for her students, which she called her kiddos. In a quote, Jason said, she talked about how much she loved her kids, and she had a phrase of live it, which was kind of her slogan. And in her honor, we're starting the Jennifer Whitehead Literacy Project. Any money donated to that project will go to buying books for kindergartners throughout the entire Fairborn City School District. Back to you.
And on top of everything else, bus routes were impacted for the district too. Illness hit several bus drivers this week.
We have had to cancel the last couple of days, 4 routes on Monday, 3 routes on Tuesday. We barely have enough bus drivers now. And when just a few call off, then we're sent scrambling a little bit.
Now, Lolly said classes at Fairborn High School were canceled on Friday because 300 people, both students and staff, were sick. As for bus routes, the rest of the week should be back to normal.
Well, heading to the bus tomorrow, it is going to be a cold start, but we got a pretty nice afternoon. Really nice day on the way for this time of the year especially, but chilly conditions overall. Clear skies helping temperatures really cool overnight. High pressure keeping things nice and quiet. This is really going to be hanging out with us over these next couple of days, keeping the quiet conditions in the forecast. So tonight we're going to drop into those mid-20s. So waking up to a chilly start. By tomorrow afternoon, climbing back up into the mid, even some upper 40s, lots of sunshine. But by our Friday, we start out 20s, 30s, back into the 50s. Cloud cover starts to increase ahead of our next weather maker by Friday. And then eventually we'll be tracking some rain for the weekend. So I'll talk more about that coming up in a bit.
A Springdale business owner is viciously mauled by 2 dogs. A police officer opened fire on those dogs to stop the attack, but couldn't avoid hitting the victim as well. New tonight, Luke Jones is speaking to the delivery driver who saw it all and called 911.
Springdale's Tri-County Golf Ranch closed until further notice. And when you hear the screams on this 911 call, no! Yeah. No! It's easy to understand why. Tri-County's co-owner, 62-year-old Lawrence King, mauled by 2 dogs who police say belong to his business partner. It's unclear if they're the same 2 featured on the Tri-County website.
It's the man that's being attacked. Oh my God, all the dogs are trying to rip his damn arm off.
That voice you hear is DeAndre Brown. He was at the golf range delivering packages for our FedEx contractor.
Got there like 9:15 and walked into a massacre.
Screams and barks as the victim shredded.
He had his right arm, mauling at his right arm, ripping chunks of meat out. And the man was begging and pleading him to stop.
Police were there within minutes and eventually opened fire.
Put 7 or 8 hot ones in both of them.
Both dogs were shot and killed, but one bullet also hit the victim in one of his legs. It's an injury he'll survive. Had the attack continued, he might not have. In Springdale, I'm Luke Jones.
Lawmakers in Columbus passed a bill cracking down on reckless drivers. Now, this House bill targets hooning. That's where cars hit city streets to perform reckless stunts and intersections. The bill increases penalties for those who partake in the action. Republican Representatives Phil Plummer of Dayton and Andrea White of Kettering sponsored that bill. In a statement, Plummer says, in part, quote, "This bill will help restore law and order back on our roadways. It will hold violators accountable for reckless behavior and increase penalties for individuals who flee from the police." While White adds, quote, "Our local law enforcement asked for more tools to respond and to protect citizens, and this bill is the first steps towards addressing these concerns to help keep our communities safe." The bill will now head to the state Senate for consideration. And it has been 10 months since that train derailment disaster in East Palestine. It caused more than $1 billion in damage and potential environmental impacts for years to come. Ohio's 2 U.S. senators teamed up to introduce tighter railroad safety legislation that still hasn't even received a vote in Congress. James Pilcher has an update after speaking with Senators J.D. Vance and Sherrod Brown.
Republican J.D. Vance and Democrat Sherrod Brown reached across the Senate's partisan aisle to introduce those tougher safety requirements earlier this year. But it hasn't yet made it to the Senate floor, and its future is still unclear. The 2 senators teamed up shortly after February's disastrous derailment in East Palestine near the Pennsylvania border. The Railway Safety Act would add tougher requirements for trains carrying hazardous materials, as well as create new requirements for detectors that can pick up when a train's wheels are malfunctioning. It also adds a requirement that all trains have crews of at least 2 people and would increase fines against railroads for safety violations. Vance says other issues like the wars in Israel and Ukraine and possible government shutdowns preempted the bill, but now says there are enough votes in the Senate for passage and that Majority Leader Chuck Schumer needs to bring it to the floor, while Brown is also pushing for a vote soon.
I understand that these things take time, but we're getting to the point now where the Majority Leader needs to bring this up to the full Senate for a vote. He has promised me that will happen. And it would be a shame, both for the people of Ohio, but also the whole country, if he broke that promise.
The railroads have opposed that vigorously. I think we're close to a Senate vote on passing. It'll be a close vote. I'm concerned about the railroads' power in the House of Representatives. Presumably, they're close to the Speaker of the House. So this is a fight I don't give up.
Now, just as a reminder, the National Transportation Safety Board found that a failed bearing, which overheated, caused the Norfolk Southern train derailment to derail in East Palestine. This bill will require those detectors to be closer together to help flag such issues. Back to you guys.
All right, well, it is cold outside. There is no question about it whatsoever. I mean, it's seasonable, but at least we got that sun coming right around the corner.
Yeah, and it's going to warm us up pretty quickly tomorrow. So we're going to start out cold, but by the afternoon, it's actually going to be pretty nice.
All right, I'm going to leave it to you because it's a little cold out here.
Yeah, we got a nice stretch of weather in the forecast, actually. So chilly conditions tonight, but heading into the day tomorrow, back into the upper 40s. So that's above normal for this time of the year. Normal high, lower 40s. So it's going to feel good tomorrow. We got that sunshine, and then 50s, both Friday, Saturday, lower 50s, still quiet. Rain arrives on Sunday, and then eventually some chillier air makes its way in for the start of next week. But the longer term, looking warmer than normal heading into Christmas, does look like we'll be dealing with some above normal temperatures.
A huge Christmas donation, how one local nonprofit will bring smiles to more than 2,000 children in our area. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. A story from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. A 45-year-old catering business is shutting its doors at the beginning of the new year. Creative Flags and Flagpoles will close its showroom after 13 years on East Dorothy Lane. Now, the one-stop shop for flags, flagpoles, and Ohio wine says the downsize is a result of decreased foot traffic after the pandemic. Instead of looking for a smaller store, the company will focus on corporate work through email and phone. We have all the details right now at Dayton247now.com. You can find this story and others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
Over 2,000 children in Montgomery County having a brighter Christmas. Today, for Love of Children, or Flock, dropped off a truckload of presents to the Haynes Children's Center in Dayton. The presents will go to over 2,000 kiddos served by the Montgomery County Children's Services.
And our Christmas is knowing that over 2,000 kids will be opening gifts that they wouldn't get otherwise. They get some toys, a coat, a hat, a stocking filled with wonderful things, and just the joy of knowing that makes my Christmas special.
Well, Flock started 33 years ago, serving about 20 to 30 children. The team is all volunteers. You can learn more about volunteering or donating at flockdayton.org. The Bengals, they got another short week with a Saturday home game and a lot at stake for both them and their opponent.
And the Grinch has been arrested after a holiday parade in Bellefontaine. Video footage of that arrest next. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeffman Auto Group.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. 4 games to go in the Cincinnati Bengals regular season, and while right now they're outside the playoff picture, they could play their way back in starting this weekend. A pivotal matchup awaits the Bengals as they host the Minnesota Vikings.